Part one today of total business and life success through relationships. We're going to talk first about being all you can be. Stick around.
This is the Franchise Pitfalls and Profit Show. Each week, we bring you the challenges and triumphs of being in the franchise development and consulting business. The things you need to make money faster. And now your host, one of the most successful franchise developers in North America, Don Shin.
You know, one of the examples I love to give about being all that you can be, uh, often when I talk about exercising and self-care, I'll use this analogy of if you've ever flown and you've heard the instructions of the stewardesses or stewards, put your own mask on first before you help other people. And I think this analogy really applies, and that's what I wanted to chat about today is to be all that you can be, taking care of yourself, uh, making sure you are the best person, you are the maximum you can be, because all of those around you will benefit. So this isn't a selfish thing. Don't do it in a selfish way, but this really is not meant to be a selfish thing. It's meant to be the absolutely best that you yourself can be, so that those around you, those that you impact, those that you influence, those that you touch, those that you lead, those people in your family that count on you, you will give them the most that you can give them if you are the best that you can be. So, what areas am I really talking about? Well, there's four main areas that I talk about in the book. Can you relate? And I want to just go over those very quickly for you here today in my podcast. One of those things is exercise. And I'm not saying you've got to go out and spend hundreds of dollars to absolutely look the best. I'm not saying that you have to spend all kinds of crazy amounts of money on a gym membership. The gym membership is good. If you can do that, that's wonderful. There are really inexpensive gym memberships that you can get today. I've heard as low as $5 and $10 a month. So you can get the gym membership now, but even if there's nothing close to you and it's not convenient, you can do some things on your own. I always caution, if you haven't exercised in years, then you need to go to your doctor, have a physical, and be sure you're in good enough health to start some form of exercise. But you can almost everybody can do something. You can take the steps once in a while. You can park your car further away from the grocery store entrance so that you get some extra exercise. If you're working from home, like I am, I get up periodically. I try to get up at least every hour and walk around. I try to get outside. I go out on our deck and I get some fresh air for 10 or 15 minutes. Right now, I'm standing. I have a Vera desk, and so it goes up and down. So I try to do things that allows me to stand while I'm doing some of my work. So there's a lot of small things you can do around exercise. But I encourage you to do a little bit more structured exercise. They say, and it depends on what articles that you read, you should do somewhere around 30 minutes of exercise at least 3 to 4 times a day, of moderate, light to moderate pace. So again, if you're going to do something like that, go to your doctor, get a physical, be sure you are in good enough health to start some form of exercise. If you really want to get very serious about that and you can afford the gym, hire a trainer. The years that I was in my best shape physically, I used a trainer, and it was really good. He not only could show me the proper way to exercise, which means I got the most out of that particular exercise. he also was the motivation. I mean, I'm pretty good at getting to the gym nowadays, but he was really the motivation for me to get better. He tracked me and helped keep me on pace for the second one that I'm going to talk about, and that's what you eat, or what's your diet. Not dieting as in eating less, but the diet and the practice of eating healthy. He was a motivator for me in that aspect. So let's shift to that. But again, if you can afford it, get a trainer. It just adds so much more to the point of exercising and being the most you can be physically. As healthy as you are and as physically fit as you are, it's going to give you more energy again to be who you want to be the most that you can be, to be all that you can be. So now let's talk about the second one, and it's just eating habits and it's diet, so to speak. Again, I'm not telling you that I've got it down, I've got it set, I'm perfect, but I do watch what I eat. I think I have a soft drink, a Coke, maybe once every 2 or 3 months. And it's almost because it's forced. We're traveling, we're out. The only beverage is going to be a Coke. At a fast food restaurant. There's another one. I don't eat fast food unless I'm just really, really forced into that situation. And again, that might be every month or once a quarter kind of a thing. So, what are you putting into your body? I have a Fitbit, as you can see, that has helped me tremendously, but I have to have some discipline to put everything into my Fitbit via my app on my phone. If you don't put it in there, you can't, the Fitbit doesn't help you track much of anything. So, exercise is one thing. Diet, what are you putting into yourself? Both of these things are going to give you more energy to be all that you can be. A third one, how do you treat yourself? My book, again, is all about relationships. And one of the things I talk about is, what kind of a relationship do you have with yourself? I hear so many times, and I see so many times where people treat themselves far worse than they would treat a friend. So I say, be your own best friend. It's so important to being all that you can be, is to, what do you think of yourself? What's your own self-image? What's your self-esteem look like? Again, I'm not talking about being arrogant or egotistical, anything of that nature. I'm just saying, have a positive outlook yourself. Treat yourself well. What do you say to yourself? What do you think about yourself? God has given you you. You are unique. You are different than anyone else on this planet. He's got a purpose for you. So you need to be all that you can be by treating yourself like you treat your best friend. So exercise, so diet, so treat yourself like a good friend or your best friend. And lastly, quite possibly one of the most important ones is, what is your thought life like? What are you thinking about? How do you think of things? What goes through your mind? I'll never forget, my daughter played at a pretty high level through high school, competitive sports, pretty much every sport. And I'll never forget one of her fellow teammates on her volleyball, on one of her volleyball travel teams, came off the court one time, and pardon my language, but she goes, "I suck." And I thought to myself, holy cow, what came out of her mouth is a fraction of the volume of what she thought of herself and what went through her mind And I don't know I don't know the professional numbers of how many times we say something in our mind before it comes out, but I know it's volumes more go on in our minds. So, what's your thought life like? Again, about yourself. So, how you're thinking of yourself and you're treating yourself. But overall, do you carry yourself based on your thought life? Do you carry yourself in a positive manner? In a way, again, that's going to overflow in positive ways instead of negative ways. And again, I'll just be transparent. One of the ones that's so hard for me is if I happen to be watching a news story, the news today is so doggone negative. I'll be yelling at the TV sometimes, and I've got to stop doing that. It's something I've got to work on. And sometimes I go through a total detox of news. I won't pick up on the news on my phone, which is how I get almost all of my news. I won't watch the national news. My wife loves the national news, likes to be current. Sometimes I just have to detox from it. So, what's your thought life like? I tried very, very hard to look at others and to treat others. What's the golden rule? But to treat others like they want to be treated, certainly like I might want to be treated, but I'd like to treat others like they want to be treated. But it all comes out of what am I thinking about regularly, and what is that perspective? Is my thought life very positive in a way that's going to come out of me and out of my life, out of my mouth, and living an overall life that's positive? Or am I bitter, or am I regularly angry, or do I lose my temper, or am I thinking about myself less than I am? Not thinking of, and that, again, that's not humility. Is thinking of not thinking less of yourself. It's just thinking of yourself less often. So what's going on in my mind? Because what goes on in your mind drives your decisions. What goes on in your mind drives how you live. What goes on in your mind drives decisions and drives actions. So, what's going on in your mind is so very important. So, again, the four things from today about being all you can be is exercise, it's diet, it's how do you treat yourself, treating yourself like your best friend, and then what's your thought life look like?